So, hey students, good evening and welcome to our next session um, on Capgemini training. And now we're going to continue with where we left off. That is purely working on linked lists. In the morning, we saw how to work with stacks and queues in short. So now we will continue from there and go to work on linked lists. We will see how to answer interview questions when particularly asked in linked lists. Now, before going on with this, we also went through, just to reverse, we also went through a couple of other things in our morning sessions. Those were time complexity and a few space complexity interview questions as well. You can expect such questions, so make sure you are able to go through such questions and able to answer such questions. Now, let's go back to our next part. In a linked list, we know that whenever you have a value in a linked list, it will store along with it an address of a next value and so on. So you have 20. So see, from yesterday entirely, I don't think we can take up too much time to glance, but I can just give you a short overview within a couple of minutes. So after the programs, after we went with the programs, what we started with was time complexity and space complexity today particularly. We saw in time complexity today what kind of questions will be asked. Mainly they will ask you to find the worst case or big O of a particular algorithm. Now we saw with examples of how space complexity works with a couple of examples. We also saw one of these questions were given in this year's Capgemini. We had solved it way earlier. We have solved it, I think, in one of our initial sessions, in our first or second session, possibly. And then we went for solving a few more such problems and directly to more time complexity problems. We will also go through more of time complexity and space complexity problems tomorrow because I have a lot of such questions and I want to take them continuously. When we have 1 hour today, what I would want to do instead is go through linked lists and give you an assignment on it so that you can work on it. So you will get questions based on all sorting methods. So what is a quadratic time complexity? How will you calculate it? How will you calculate, let's say, cubic time complexity? In which example will such a time complexity even come? And how will you calculate time complexity for graphs, for trees, and everything? We will see all of that. For algorithms like merge sort, quick sort, how will you calculate time complexity? We will see that through. And once we looked at examples of time complexities, a lot of different programs on how to calculate time complexity, we then started working on data structures. The basic data structures we started was stacks and queues. We also saw what were the time complexities of arrays as well as linked lists. Since I did not type them here for your reference, arrays, whenever you insert or delete, you have big O of n. Whenever you access, you have big O of 1. That is the worst time complexity. For linked lists, whenever you access, it can be big O of n. But whenever you're inserting or delete, we generally call it as big O of 1. So yes, this notepad has everything. I am sharing this at the end of each session. The same document I'm extending, I'm sharing this at end of every session to you. I'll make sure to share this even after today's session. So let's go ahead for the next part. You have second value as, let's say, 20 and it stores 2000. Yes, continuing in same part. And when it goes to third element, let's say which is storing 30, if this is my last element, we are storing null. This is what we know. So it is not stored in continuous memory location. First variable is stored in some random address, let's call it as 500. Second is stored in some address, let's call it 1000, because that is where we are going. We are going to 1000. And third one is storing in some address 2000, because that is the next value of 3000. So this is how we can create a linked list. And we can, if we want to add another value between 10 and 20, all I need to do here is make it 15, and instead of pointing to 1000, if this is in some address 750, we will make sure this is pointing to 750. So instead of pointing to the second element, it will point here. And this will point over here by making it as 2000. This is your basic concept of how to have elements inserted, deleted, and everything. Now, basically, when you create a linked list, we start with this particular part. We always start with our own user defined data type, because in a linked list, let's have this as 2000 just in case, because we generally use this as 2000 as an example, and we'll make it 3000. So this is stored in address 3000, and let's say this is your address 2000. Let's assume this is your address 1000. Assuming, let's say this is the case. Now, in this example, 1000 has address value 10, it is pointing to address 2000, which has value 20, which is pointing to address 3000, which has value 30. This is basically how it works. Now, we had created these programs. For those of you who were already in the previous sessions, you are familiar with this already. So for those of you who haven't been in the sessions, since this is the first time you're going through the coding part of a linked list, we will try to go through one or two functions at maximum, not more than that, so that we can directly go for interview questions after this. You can't answer them unless you know the basics. So I want to know just one question from all of you, from everyone who are in the group. My question to you guys is, do you guys know how to create your own insert or delete or search or display, all these functions for a linked list? How many of you guys know? How many of you guys don't know? This is what I need to know. I will go with majority because I want everyone to know this, because when we go ahead for things like binary search trees, if we don't know these basic functions, if we don't know these basic things, we cannot create binary search trees at all. So that is why we need you all to know this very well. So based on the response, see, I make sure as many of you guys can please respond, because I will go with the majority. If you know, please let me know that you know. If you don't know, please let me know that you do not know. So I have only 2 people who have specified that they know. Okay, 3 people who have specified that they know so far. Apart from 3, everyone else has just specified that they do not know. So in that case, we will go through these functions, 1 or 2 of them in detail. For those who know this will be kind of a revision. For those who don't know, make sure you understand this very, very clearly, because this is a huge part in solving a lot of interview questions for us. Now, for those who don't know this, I want to inform you guys one more thing. Throughout the program, if you find this difficult to understand, if you find that, sir, this is something I'm finding too difficult to understand, you can stop me right there and you can ask any question you want in the group, because these programs may be a little complicated. So do not hesitate. Anytime you guys want, please make sure you can ask a question anytime at all that you want. So let us start without the delay. Now, in this case, the first thing we're going to start with here is, let us assume I want to insert an element into linked list. Before inserting element into a linked list, is this concept of the data type clear to everyone? Is this data type concept clear to everyone? Because this data type is what we will use to store elements. Okay, I hope this is clear to everyone, no doubts at all. All right, so let us go ahead to the next part. Perfect. Let's go to the next part. So here, if I want to insert something into the linked list, first, let us create an element in the linked list. By default, your first, see, here's how it works. to understand this, what will a pointer store? Can you just answer this question to me? What will a pointer store? Not a pointer. Let's say what will an array store? If I have something like int a of 5, if I have int a of 5, what will a store? What exactly will a store? This is my first question to you all. Not integer values. Remember, address of first element. Exactly correct. Array name always stores address of first element. Likewise, we here need a pointer as well. We need a pointer to a linked list as well. That pointer, we can call it as something like start, or we can call it as first or anything. And it should store address of the first element of the linked list. Address of first element is 1000. We will store that in a separate pointer and call it something like start. This is what we will do. Now, when there are no elements at all in my linked list, when my linked list is empty, what will be the value of start? My question to you all, if my linked list is empty, the first time I start my program, what will be the value of start? Any answers? I've got one answer. How about others? Can I say it should be null? Perfect. So at the beginning of the program, struct node start equals null. This is what I'm doing. So initially, when the program starts, before user enters any value in the linked list, that linked list will be completely empty. This is what you guys need to know. And guys, one more thing. I want to tell you guys this beforehand. Are you guys going through the previous programs, everything we are doing? Are you guys practicing all of them? Are you guys going through them? Is it because I don't want our sessions to be like you're coming in the session, learning only within the session and just forgetting later on? You need to go through whatever we have learned from the first class. Keep going through such examples in order to not forget them, because you can't try running every program the day before interview. So keep practicing it every day. Keep trying out more and more programs every day to make it better. So let us go back here and start. Now, initially start value will be null. So if I want to insert an element, we need to call an insert function. So let us create an insert function. And I don't know what to send within insert. I don't know what to return from insert as well. Because assume this is my first time of writing this kind of function. I don't know what to work. So first thing you need to know here is, in insert, you're going to send a value. Of course, you'll send a value that will insert within the linked list. So let us send something called a value. After value, to understand what is needs to be sent, you have to observe there are two conditions that will come up. One, your entire linked list is empty. Empty, you're going to have one condition. Another one, if there is at least one element, if there's at least one element, then your condition, your entire statements will differ. So that is the thing you need to know. So let us start with the first condition. First condition, assuming that our linked list is null. So if our linked list is null, here's what I will try to write these as quickly as possible, these steps. I don't want to take too much time in these. So I'll try to write these as quickly as possible. If you find it confusing, anything, let me know, guys. So first thing, if I want to, since there are no elements, if I want to create an element, let's say this is my memory, there is no element in my memory at all. So first I need to get some space. I need to get some memory. I need to get some bytes in order to store my first element. So how do I get some memory when the program is running? Memory from the RAM. How will I get from memory from the memory manager? Think through, guys. I'll write here as steps. So step 1, I'll call it as DMA, or allocate memory for one struct node variable. Now, unless there is a memory space where I can enter a variable values, then unless there's a memory space, I can't enter anything. I can't store anything. So first thing I need is a memory space where I can enter the two values required for my program. That is, one will be called data, another is not data. Let us look at this, data and next. So to store data and next exactly, I need enough memory space. So to get that memory space, we'll allocate the memory using malloc. This is the first step to do. So after first step, once memory is allocated, we are sending 10 as the value. Remember, we are sending 10 as the value over to the function. So that I have to store within data part. So let me first take the 10 and store in data. So that step is also done. Now, second step was, I'll just write here, store data in allocated memory. Now, after I do this, the next step, I need to store something in the next. Now remember, this is the condition if it is null. If my linked list is null, this is the condition I should follow. So if linked list is null and I'm entering this element, can I say this is my first element as well as my last element? Can I say this is my first as well as my last element? Can I do this? Can I say this? So if it is my last element, what will be the next value? It's not just my first element, it's my last element also. In that case, what will be the next address? Perfect. It will be null. So that is what we'll update here. So we're going to update in step 3 as store null in next of allocated memory. So first part is store value in data part of allocated memory, then store null in next part of allocated memory. Once we do this, we have pretty much got our first element. Now, is this the end of it? Let us assume this is stored somewhere in address 1000. Assume that it is stored in some address 1000. Now, what happens here is, if you don't update the start value with 1000, how will you know that there is a value? If you do not update the start value, which is null, because you have created a new element, you need to update the starting address with this thing called 1000. Unless you update it, it's like you don't know, even after creating the value, even after creating an element, you are pretty much saying that it is entirely empty. So to make sure it is not empty, you have to update the start value with this element, that is 1000. This is your last step. So I will write the last step as step 4, update start with address of allocated memory. So these are the 4 steps. Once we update this with 1000, now my start is pointing to the first element here instead of pointing to null. So this is your entire steps to insert an element if linked list is empty. Is this clear? Is this basic concept clear to everyone? All right, perfect. So now let me ask you one small question. Let us do one small change here. The next thing we're gonna do now is observe one thing specifically. This is a function. This is your main. There's a distinction. So this is your main, and this is your function called insert. And from main, you're sending 10. You're receiving as 10 here. Now, when you want to update start value, which is null initially, since this is in function, can I access main and update it? My question, can I access main and update it? Right, I cannot. So since I cannot go from here and access some value within main, what if start has some address? Start is stored in some address called, let's say 500. Let's assume start is stored in some address called 500. What if I send this address 500 over to insert function? If I send this address 500 over to insert function, can I here, if I remember address will be 500, I can remember that, hey, I know the address where I'm supposed to store 1000. I will go to that address because I have the value of that address and store that as 1000. Can I do this? My question, can I do this? I'm not sending this value. I'm not sending the value. If I send a value, there is no point. Instead of sending value, I'm sending the address of start. If I send address of a variable from main to another function, using that address, we can go over there and change the value. Remember swap function, guys. We had a function called fun. We had a function called fun where we read int star x, and in main we called it as fun of ampersand x. That means address of a variable x was sent, it was received as a pointer. If you update it to something within the function fun, it will get updated within the x of main also. So like that, can I do this? Or do you guys feel that, sir, this is too confusing to understand and you want me to explain this with an example? You guys let me know. All right. Most of you are asking for an example. Most of you, 99% of you. Uh, Luckily, one or two of you can easily understand. But make sure that, please understand, guys. I have to make sure that as many of you guys understand as possible. So since most of you are unable to get through this, I'll just take this very small example very quickly. Take this int function of a pointer int star x. Now, all that I'm gonna do here is, in main, if I have something like, let's say, int x is equal to 5, and if I send fun of address of x, and if I print something like percentage d comma x, here within the function, if we change x is equal to 10, your output will exactly be 10. Now, how and why is that? If you observe this, see, in this case, x value is initially 5. Remember, main has its own variables, function has its own variables. So main has x value as 5. Let us say it is stored in some address called 100. Let us assume it is stored in 100. Now I'm calling function with address of x. So when you send address of x, 100 is sent over here, and 100 is received and stored in a pointer. So I can say x within the function fun is storing the value 100. Now, sorry, this should be star x, not just x. This statement should be star x. Now, when I perform star x equals 10, it is same as star of x is equal to 10. In other words, instead of star of x, x value is 100 over in function fun. You can say star of 100 is equal to 10. So that means star of 100 is value within address 100. That should be updated with 10 now. So when you do that and exit this function and go back to print, you're printing 10. Is this clear? This happens because we are sending address of x over to the function as a pointer. Instead of sending just x, we are sending address of x. For everyone who asked, example would make us understand better, including Pooja, Harish, Vaibhavi, all of you guys. You let me know if you are able to understand this now or not. If you're able to understand this now, then perfect. You have understood this concept. So I have Kushal one doubt. No, you are sending address of X. Address is received as a pointer. It is correct. You are not sending star X. Please note you are sending ampersand X only. It is address of X that you are sending. It is correct. So now let's go ahead from this back to our program. Now, similar to this, if I want to change value of start, likewise, should I send start or should I send address of start here? This is my question now to everyone. Perfect. I'm supposed to send address of start. So if I'm sending address of this, I'm supposed to receive it here. Now remember, start itself is a pointer. Start itself is already a pointer. I am sending address of a pointer. If I'm sending address of a pointer, how should I receive it? I'm not sending just a pointer, but I'm sending an address of a pointer. An address of a pointer should be received how exactly? Double pointer. If it's a, yes, exactly. So we will receive this as struct node star star first. Let us call it as first, for example. I'm calling as first and not start to make sure we are not confused with this. So I hope now this part is clear to everybody. Now we can start with these 4 steps. Now let us remember this. So here, I'll just call this as, again, let me just call this as main function. This is your insert function. In main function, you're not just sending 10, you're also sending address of start. Let's say, assume if it is 500, you're sending that one, that value as well. So when we receive it, we will receive it as 10, we will receive it as a value, and 500, we will receive it as the variable first. Now, first value is 500, value of the variable value is 10. So we'll write it separately here so that it is much clearer for you to understand. You have a value which is 10, and you have something called, I think we did it as first, correct? First, which is 500. So if first is 500, star of first will go to this value. This value null is acted as star of first. So let us go back to the code and let us start writing the steps. The first step is allocate memory for one struct node. I cannot create this unless there is memory allocated. Initially, there is no memory allocated to store value. I need memory to be allocated. To do that, I'll just write struct node star temp equals, convert it to struct node star. I hope you all know malloc function, and I'll just type malloc of size of struct node. In short, all I'm telling here is compiler is telling your memory manager that I need enough memory to store one struct node variable. So once your compiler tells memory that it needs, compiler tells RAM that it needs enough memory to store one struct node variable, memory manager or RAM will return starting address to the variable temp. So um, to make sure you guys are able to understand this, let me start from scratch to make sure everyone is able to understand this. So I'll just write a line to divide it by half. Let's call this as main. Let's call this as insert. Now, in main, we have a variable called star whose value is null. and you are sending 10 and address of start, which is, let's say, stored in 500. You're sending that 500 over here. So this we are receiving it as value, and this we are receiving it as first. This is done. Now I can only store something once I have memory allocated. So only when memory is allocated, I can store something in it. So to allocate memory, we call malloc. Malloc will allocate memory and store the result in a variable called temp. So temp here will store starting address, let's say 1000 for example. In that address 1000, if you go to the address 1000, there you will find enough space to store a data and a next address. So this is the first step. Temp will store starting address of the location where you can store data and next. Temp is not the structure member. Temp is a pointer to the structure member. Know this difference very clearly. Now, temp is not a double pointer. Temp is a single pointer because temp is pointing to starting address of. If you observe, temp is having an address. If you go to that address, there is a struct variable. This whole thing is our own data type variable. If you took this 1000 and stored it in one more address called ABC, for example, where you stored that address as 200. Uh, let's say temp is stored in some address 200. You took that address and stored it in ABC. Now ABC is a double pointer because ABC is pointing to one address, that address is pointing to another address, there you have value. But temp is not a double pointer. I hope that is clear. I hope that answers um, one of the questions that you guys just had. So once we do this, let's go for the next part. In this, here, I want to store whatever value was entered. Value that was given by user was 10 here. They have stored it in a variable called value. This value I want to store here. Now to store it here, if this were a struct node variable directly, I could access, if temp was directly a struct node variable, I could access it as temp dot data. But temp is a pointer to this struct node variable. So we'll access it as temp arrow mark data. Just like in C++, whenever you have this pointer, we use this arrow mark variable name. So same way here, temp is a pointer to this structure variable. So we use temp arrow mark variable name. So we have to access it like this. Make sure you guys remember this particular step. Okay, I lost the chat. Right, perfect, you're back. So once we do this, let us write the same step here. What I'll do here is, since it is the first element, I have to first check the condition. If star first is equal to null, this is the first condition I should check. This is because whatever we are writing is only valid for the condition where our linked list is empty. To get to know if linked list is empty, I need to go to this first address. First address is 500. I need to go to that address, get its value. If its value is null, only then we are following the steps. If it is not null, it has at least one element. Then we need to follow different steps. So here in our case, that is why we are giving a check as if star first is equal to null. Remember, star first means value within this address, which is null. Now, since it is null, we do this. Now, the second thing we need to do is temp arrow mark data. I'm going to store it with null. Sorry, not null. The value that the user has entered. Whatever value user has entered, we are storing it within temp arrow mark data. Now, here we've got it as 10. Now, after this, temp arrow mark next, I need to make it null. To make it null, what do I write here in the next statement? Okay, I've got one answer. What about others, guys? Think through. I want to store the next value here as null. To do that, what should I write? Perfect. I'll make it as temp arrow mark next is equal to null. That's it. If I do that, this whole step is done. Now, let's go for the next step. Once this is done, the next part is to make sure that this starting address is stored in start. So whatever start you have as null, that will be changed to 1000. This is what we need to do. So this starting address 1000, let us store it into start. So it goes off. We need to take, we need to go to value within start. That is, since we have first over here, we need to go within address of first. We need to go to this address. You remember 500 is the address where null is stored. That is what I need to change to 1000. So I need to go to address 500, and address 500 is stored as first. So I will do star first. I'll access star first. That will give me this value. That value I want to update it with 1000. 1000 is stored in temp. So in short, I want to store temp value, which is 1000, into start. But since I can't access start from this function, I will store temp in star first. Star first will go to start because it is value within address 500. So that is the exact thing we'll do here as star first is equal to temp. This will create our first element if it is null. Now to display it, you can also create a display function if you want. Now to display, I'm going to write this very quickly so as to not waste time. Let me just call display of start. To display, I only need the first address. I need this address. I don't need to change it. I don't need the address of start because I'm not changing anything in display. I only need the starting address to display. So I can just use in display from the starting address to print something. So if start is equal to null, I'm sending start here in display. Let me receive it as struct node star first. I'll do one thing. Let us do this later on. I'll just write it as if first is equal to null. We'll just print linked list is empty. That's it. So I'm sending first value. First value is 1000. If it is null by any chance, then there are no elements. So I'm printing linked list is empty. If the start value that I send here, if it is not null, else, then I need to start printing. So this is what we're going to do up next. So before we do this, is this insert function part clear to everyone? For those who are new to linked list particularly, for those who are looking at this at the beginning, first time. So our question shouldn't it be star first equals null? No, see, here when you send start, you're sending value of start to first. For the question that I just received, let me show you. What is the value of start? That is null. So null is what you're sending to this. Start value is null. So you're sending null to first. So first is a pointer where first will store exact value that you are sending. So first will be equal to null, not start first. So I hope that is clear. So now going back to this, to everyone, forget display function for now. If I hope this small display part is also clear. Is this insert part clear till here? To everyone, is this insert part so far till now? Is it clear? Now I will call this as void insert at begin. I will call this as insert at begin function. That means whatever you're entering will be inserted at the beginning of our linked list. Instead of at the middle or at the end of a linked list, we are inserting at the beginning of our linked list. Now, guys, one thing before we start with, again, I'll repeat this. I need you guys to understand this very, very clearly and clearly. before we start with binary search trees and hashing interview questions and everything, you should be very clear with how these basic codes work. Because there's a good chance you may get some questions like this. Now, let's say this is a question. It will come up like this. If a linked list is empty and you want to insert an element in the list, this is the code. This is what they'll write. This is your code. Now, in this code, what line is wrong? They will ask in this particular code, which line is having an error? Now, you cannot answer that unless you learn this. So, if they give you some question like this and they don't have this last statement, you can say that we are not storing the temp value back in first. So, that is why it's an error. So, you can figure out statements like this. These are some kind of questions you can expect. Line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, and line 6. Which line has an error is what they may ask. They may skip this line or they may do something like this. So these are some sort of questions, basic stuff that you may expect. Or they may specify not equal to none. Or they may not store the value at all. Or something like this may happen. So these are some sort of questions you guys may expect. So remember this. I have a question. Can I explain this last part again? Okay. See, in the last line, if you observe, I am within here. You know that start value is initially null. You want to change this to 1000. Only if you change it to 1000, it says that starting address is now 1000 instead of null. But the problem is 1000 is within insert function. It's not within start function. Sorry, it's not within main function. You want to go to main and update this 1000. Now 1000 is stored in temp. This value I need to store in start. Now I cannot access from insert to main function directly. So I have to take this 1000 through another variable and store it here. And we have that other variable as first. First is a variable which stores address of start. First is storing address of start, that is 500. So if I access star first, that means it will access value within address 500. It will access null. So in that case, if I say star first, within my insert function, star first will go to address of 500 and access this null. If I update it with temp, that means temp in my insert function is 1000, that will go to star first. Star first is value within 500, that is null. So this will end up replacing null by 1000. So I hope this answers the question that I've just got. Let me know if you're able to understand with this question. Are you able to understand uh, with the explanation? Perfect. Now, I have one more confusion, one more question here. There is, again, I understand that at the start, when it comes to linked list, first time you guys will have a lot of questions. I completely understand that. Don't worry. You can feel free to ask. But once you're clear with this, once you're able to understand this, then you will be able to solve this easily further on. So I have one more question. That is in linked list, when to use star, when not to use star. Yeah, you will need to take an example. If it's difficult, if it is confusing, always take an example like this. Always take an example like this and try solving it. That is when you will be able to understand and solve. Always take an example and solve. This is my suggestion, guys. So let's go back here to our program again. Now, I have one more case here. Else, if it is not null. Now, if it is null, this is what we are doing. That means there were no elements. Now, what if there were already elements and I want to insert at beginning? Then my entire code will become different. To understand this, that's what I'm going to do. Let us assume in our case, start is not null. Instead of start being null, start is currently 1000. One element is already there. In that address 1000, let us assume, in that address 1000, you have 10 and null. this is what we have over here. We have 10, we have inserted one element. That means 10 is inserted, its next value is null. This is the first element already inserted. Now I want to insert a second element. When I insert second element, I'll call again like insert at begin of 20 comma address of start. That means my first value should be 20 now instead of 10. If that is the case, once it goes here, it is receiving two values. First is value. First, it is receiving value as 20. Let me write it as 20 is being received here as value. After 20, next thing we are sending here is address of start. Start is 1000. Let's say start is stored in some address called, let us say it is stored in some address called again 500. So it will send address 500 over to your function as well, which will store it as something like, let us call it as first. This is your whole logic. Now this is what I have. Now here, you guys know that we are sending 20 and ampersand start, and start here is not null. So when you receive it as first here, first value or star first is value within 500, which is 1000. It is not null. Since it is not null, it will now go to else part. This is where it will go now. Now we will see how to insert a value if there is already at least one value. Now, I will not say anything. I want you guys to tell me, you guys to help me out. What is the first step that I should do? Can you guys let me know? First step, I need as many of you guys to let me know as possible. I'm not going to go back to the previous program. I need you guys to apply your own knowledge of whatever you have just learned. Okay, I've got answer from one of you guys. What about others? So yes, first thing I need to do is assign memory, is allocate memory. Unless I allocate memory, I cannot take temp and store a value like 20. I cannot store next as some value or anything. First step, I need to allocate my memory. So remember, step one, allocate memory for one struct node using variable malloc. So first step is same. I don't need to delete it. After first step, what is the second step? First step is done. Then after first step, that is allocate a memory. So we have allocated a memory called temp. Let's assume temp is a pointer which points to address 2000, and in address 2000 you have enough memory to store one variable. Now once this is done, your next value is initialize the value field. Perfect. Initialize the data field. So second step, store value in data part of allocated memory. Second step is also the same. There is no difference. Second step, I'm storing 20 here. Now, after storing 20, remember our function is called insert at begin. That means, let me write this as first. Step save. Linked list is empty. Steps 2. Insert at begins if linked list is empty. Now let me take this one more time here. This is steps to insert if at begin if linked list is not empty. This is the second part. Now here, if it is not empty, first two steps are again the same. I've inserted, we have created a memory, we have inserted a value. Now after inserting this value, what's the next step? Given know that it is not empty, it is not empty. This should be my first element. It is not empty. Since it is not empty, should this next be null or should it be something else? Because you already have one element. If this is my first element, this should become my second element. I already have one element which is storing 10. This is my first element. Now, since I'm making this as my first element, this value should become the address. So this whatever previous first element was there, it should become my second element now. So 1000 that was there, which was here, which is also at the start, that should become the second element here. So address of previous first element, I should store it here. So let us store 1000 here. Now, how will I access 1000 here? I have first. So can I say star first is equal to 1000? I can. So I will access this 1000 value in my insert function using variable first, because first stores address of start. So star first will be value within start, that is 100. So all that we are doing here is in step 3, we are not storing null, we are storing star first in next part. So this is the third step. Now, after third step, let's look at fourth step. Do I need to do anything else? This is my new first element. If this is my new first element, what should I do now? How will I get to know which is my first element? Do I need to update any other variable? Perfect. Update start. I'm going to have to take this variable, update it to start, and make start as 2000. If I make start as 2000, it points to this is my first element. This will point to my second element now. So I've got my linked list. So fourth step, update start with this. Now this value is temp. So temp is what I need to store in start. Again, I don't have access to start in insert function. So I will use first. I'll go to address of first, access star of it, I'll get the value. So I just need to store temp in star first. That's all. Update start with address of all. These are the four steps. So let us write the same steps in else here. So, so once I start with these steps, okay, I've written it in display function. I have to write in this else function. Perfect. So the first step is the same thing, because first step I need to allocate memory for a struct variable. I'll take the exact same line. I will copy here. Now, second step, store value in data path. I'm doing the same previously also. I'm copying the same step. Third step, third step, store star first in next part. Here I'm storing null in next part, but here I'm supposed to store star first. So I'm going to take this code. Instead of storing null, I'm going to make this as star first. That's the only difference. Now, fourth step is still the same. Temp, I'm storing it in star first, which is supposed to go back to main. So if I do this, step 4 is also same. Now, if you guys observe this, in if and else, first two steps are both same. Since both steps are same, I don't need to write separately within if and else. I will remove it and type it before if and else, because whether it is empty or whether it is non-empty, first two steps are same. So I'm writing it before. And also you can see last step is also same, whether it is empty or non-empty. So I'll remove the last step also and write it after if and else. Now, if and else only have one statement. Since they only have one statement, I will remove brackets as well. So if you do this, this is your entire insert at the begin code. Now, if you observe this, there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. That's 7 lines of code. But to understand these 7 lines of code, we took up around half an hour of time to go through it and go through each part of it and understand it carefully. So this is your insert at begin function. I will tell you, you guys can expect such functions as a question. If you remember this really well, you can easily say like, okay, first step, okay, we are entering the value, we are storing the data with the value. If it is empty, we are making next as empty. If it is non-empty, we are making next as previous first value, and we are updating address. Done. Now in this, if there was an error here like null, then you can say error is in this line number. This is some kind of questions that you may expect, because this has been asked previously as well. And again, you guys need to know that every question we work out may not be asked, but most of the questions we may work out, you may get something very similar to it, or if you're lucky, you may get the same out of it. Like we went through a lot of C, C++, and pseudocode programs. You may not get exactly the same. You may, if lucky as well, or you may get same logic type questions which you will be easily able to solve because we have solved such programs earlier. So same applies even for this as well. So let us go ahead from here and go for the next part now. Now that we are able to insert at the beginning, I'm just going to write the display function. You guys know that in display function, let's say we already have a set of elements, something like 10, and it is pointing to 2000. And from here, let's say we are pointing from that to 20 or and 3000. Let's say from here you're pointing to something like 30, where next is none. So to do this, I need to write it the opposite here. I need to insert 20 first. Before that, I need to insert 30 and then 10, because this is insert at begin. So 30 will be the beginning element, then 20 will be beginning element, then 10 will be beginning element. So in this case, this works perfectly. 10 is the beginning element, which is stored somewhere in, let's say 1000. It points to 20, which is stored in 2000. That points to 30, which is stored in 3000. Now, to print this, all I'm sending to display function is start. Start value is 1000. It is a pointer. It is storing starting address. I'm just sending 1000 here. So once I send 1000 here, I have to check here. If this itself is null, then there are no elements. So that is why I'm just printing it as linked list is empty. If it is not null, else we'll go here and we'll start printing the entire display function. We'll start printing entire linked list in the display function. So to print entire linked list, here's what I need to do. I need to go to the start address. I need to print start arrow mark data. After printing data, I need to check next value. If it is null, I should stop. If it is not null, I should go to that address and print its start data, print its data part, and go to next. If it is null, stop. If it is not null, go to that address. After going to that address, there again, print data, and then go to next. If it is null, stop. Otherwise, go to next value. So we see that these steps are like a loop. So we'll do the same thing. First step, when I go, we know that it is not null. Guys, observe this very carefully. We have written if first is equal to null. When I go to else, we know that it is not null at all. Since we know that it is not null, can I directly print first value? Since we know it is not null, can I directly print first value? That is my question. Can I do that? Can I directly print here? Printf percentage d slash t, comma. Let's say first value, I will call it something like first arrow mark data. The reason I'm writing it as first arrow mark data is because first is a variable. First is a variable in your function display, which is storing address 1000. Now, if I change first to something like 2000, it will not affect this, because remember, I am not sending address of start. I'm sending the value. That value is copied here. The value is copied here to first. I'm not sending address. So if I change first, it will not change the start value. Please note that very clearly. Now, all I'm doing here is just printing first arrow mark data. I'll be printing 10. This is the address. I'm going to this address and printing data part. After printing data part, I need to check while first arrow mark next not equal to null. I'm checking if its next value is null. First arrow mark next, it is not null. Since it is not a null value, I have to go to this address now. That means I will change my first value from 1000 to 2000 now. So to do that, all that I'll do in the while loop is Just write it as first equals first arrow mark next. That's it. While first arrow mark next is not null, as long as it is not a null value, I'm changing first from 1000 to its next value. After changing next value, I need to print its data. So to print its data, I'll write in the next step the same step I wrote here, print the data path. If this is done, then that means 20 is also printed. 10 was already printed earlier. 20 is also printed. After 20 is printed, it will go back to this while loop and check why first arrow mark next not equal to null. First is now 2000, 2000 arrow mark next is 3000, which is not null. Since it is not null, it goes within this while loop again. First equals first arrow mark next. So right hand side, first arrow mark next is 3000. That 3000 I'm storing back in first. So first will now become 3000. Then after doing that, I'm printing first arrow mark data again. First arrow mark data, 3000 arrow mark data is 30. We are printing 30. So 10, 20, 30 are printed. After this, we are checking again first arrow mark next not equal to null. Now first arrow mark next is equal to null. Since it is equal to null, this is where we will stop. After stopping at the end of while loop, you can print a new line character to know that you have stopped here. Now, if we execute this, we are supposed to see exact values as 10, 20, and 30 on the screen. I have some issues with my terminal. It's not opening. So I need to force stop it and open it. Hold on, guys. I'm unable to view the terminal. Yes, I'm unable to view the terminal. So I will have to close this and probably force stop it and get back. So let me just try to kill this application since it is not responding. I'll have to just kill it. So let me just run my system monitor over here. I think it's Control Shift Escape if I'm not wrong. Or yes, system monitor. I have no idea why this happened, guys. Please bear with this for just a minute. Or I'll just log off and log on again. Perfect. CG. Perfect. So we have a couple of errors here saying it says uh, in void insert, I'm supposed to get some null. Let us see, line 7, it says expected semicolon at the end. So let's go to line 7. Let us see where we are expecting semicolon over here. Yeah, struct declaration, I need to end it with semicolon. Perfect. So let's compile it now. I still have a few warnings. That is because I'm using, all right, hold on. First, I need to use hash include standard library.h. Without standard library.h, I won't be able to access malloc functions. So let's compile again. So there are no errors. Let's execute it now. It's supposed to print 10, 20, 30 as it is. Now this is perfect. We are able to print 10, 20, and 30 on our screen now. So this is your, in other words, the very basic program of a linked list. Now, I'll just write it over here. Only insert at begin. And we have only done two functions, guys. Please note, insert at begin and display function. Now, if you observe this, with the steps and everything, I've shared the same. So output here, if you give this a try, should be 10, 20, and 30. Now, okay, I think I've pasted it somewhere else. That is the problem. Okay, I've pasted it somewhere in between the file. Let me paste it at the end of the file so you can access it. Output is 10, 20, and 30. So I have a question. Why is the output 10, 20, and 30, not 30, 20, and 10? See, I'm inserting 30 at the beginning. Then I'm inserting 20 at the beginning. That means 30 will become second value. Then I'm inserting 10 at the beginning. That means 20 will become second value, 30 will become third value. If you want it to be 10, 20, 30 as it is, you want to insert 10 at the start and then 20. That means 10 will become second value, 20 will become first value, and then 30. That means 20 will become second, 10 will become third, and 30 will become first value. If you try it now based on your answer, it is 30, 20, and 10. See, it is insert at begin. So whichever you insert first, that will be the beginning value. So I hope you are able to understand this. I hope there are no doubts. So now going ahead from this, now that we started with the basic concepts of linked list, here's exactly what you're gonna expect in linked list. Yes, first in last one. So in linked list, you guys can expect questions such as one I've already showed you guys earlier, and the other kind of questions you guys can possibly expect is in these linked list programs in a particular function. See, this is purely for Capgemini. The same linked list part can be asked in a pseudocode. The same can be asked in a pseudocode. I'll give you one example. Take this particular question. Now here you have these four steps. Now the first step you have here is something like, let's say, allocate memory for see, they may give you a condition like these out of this following pseudocode, which statement is wrong. So the pseudocode will be like function of something like integer value and something like address first element or something like this. They may give you an entire pseudocode over here where you will be given all these statements. Like the first step is allocate memory, and second step is store value in the allocated memory. They may ask in different wordings. It may not be exactly like this. So when they ask it in different wordings, as long as you understand and remember how to solve this very clearly, I don't think I've saved it. That's all right. As long as you can go back to the program that we did and solve it very easily, you will be able to solve these as well. These should not be difficult. Now, if such questions are asked, will you find it easy? Will you be finding it easy to do? My question: if such questions are asked, will you be able to do them easily? So they can ask anything. They can ask a question based on inserting a value, deleting a value, searching for a value, anything. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is one question that may be asked more often than not. Uh, that could possibly be asked in such cases. That is, how do you reverse a linked list? In a reversal of linked list, when you have something like this, how exactly do you perform it? If you're able to perform it, what are if they could ask it as steps in pseudocode steps, which line is wrong, or they could ask you in reversal of a linked list, what is the time complexity? What is the time complexity you will face when you're reversing a linked list? So these are some questions you guys may expect. So the first assignment I will give you guys for today is I'll write it as assignment number 1. Figure out how to reverse a linked list. To do this, take an example of 3 values. Take an example like this, 3 values. I'm not going to write all the values here. You can write 10, 20, 30, whatever it is. It is pointing like this. So if this is storing address of B, this will be storing address of C, this will be storing null. So what you need to do here is, instead of having this stored as null, you have to store address of C. So it is pointing here. Instead of C, this should store address of B, so that it points back here. Instead of B, this should store address null, as this is the last element. That is all you have to do. If you change those steps, you're essentially performing this. Now, if you guys just observe this, can you let me know what will be the time complexity here? Can you think of this and let me know what could possibly be the time complexity? Will it be big of n, or big of, let's say, n square, or log n, or what exactly do you think it will be? For everybody who is saying log n, remember, log n is always the case for divide and conquer. I have specified this earlier. For divide and conquer, we will use log n. Like for example, for binary search, you know that you're dividing the entire array by half, and you're searching only half of it. That is less than n. So that is why we do log n. Log n is always used when you divide by half. That is log base 2 n. That is the concept. But here, is it big O of n, or is it big O of n square, or is it big O of 2n, or is it big O of 3n? What exactly will it be? This is a question I will answer to you guys tomorrow. I will only be able to answer this question once you guys are able to know the code of this. So your first assignment for today is figure out how to reverse a linked list. Take this example. Try to, they may ask about circular linked list as well. Let us go through basic linked list first. After this linked list, our next topic is exactly the concept of circular linked list itself. What you're stating is absolutely correct. Do not worry. After this, we are going for circular linked list, then W linked list, then binary trees, then binary search trees, then hashing. Then we will go for sorting algorithms. This is our entire flow that we will go through. So before we do all of this, make sure you guys try this out. Your first assignment for today, I'll repeat, figure out how to reverse a linked list. Take an example and write your own function. In this, write your own function like void reverse list, and you just have to write your code here. This is what I will ask you guys to do. So if you want to if you want a hint, in reverse list, should I send start value or address of start value? To give you a hint, I'm asking you, should I send start value or address of start value? Because when I reverse, will my starting address change? Initial starting address was this, final starting address will become this value's address. So starting address will change. Since it will change, I need to update the starting address, so I have to send ampersand start. You can read it as struct struct node star first. So your first assignment is this. Now based on this, your second assignment, once you have written the entire reverse linked list function, figure out time complexity of reverse function. So I hope you're able to see the screen now. One of you was not able to. Yeah, perfect. So first assignment is figure out how to reverse a linked list. Second assignment is figure out the time complexity of the reverse function. These are the two steps you need to do. So can you guys give these a try tonight? Tomorrow I need your responses for this. Based on this, I will provide my response and we will go for the next part. We still have tens and tens of different time complexity programs to try, time complexity and space complexity pseudocodes to try. We still haven't gone through those too much. We'll try to go through those as well as many other things as much as possible. We'll catch up tomorrow, guys. I hope whatever you learned today was useful. You were able to understand it, able to learn it. So in terms of hours, maybe somewhere around 4 or 5 hours, I assume. Yeah, I forgot to share these as well now, right? So let me copy these and share them. So I'll share this entire file to you. Let us just call it as Capgemini content. So if I share this, so instead of separately in chat box and everything, I'm just sharing this link. If you open this link, you should be able to access it directly. I've shared a link. If you open that link, you should be able to access the entire content till now directly. So the space in Ubuntu, you can download it as a text file or access it entirely over here. So that one link is enough for our, I don't know, 1,000+ lines, 1,256 lines of content that we have. So go through this, guys. We'll stop here as of now. Let me know if you guys have any, let me know if you guys felt it was easy, difficult, however it was. So I'll stop the session here now, guys. So I hope you're able to see. This is the link. I've shared it. So we'll catch up tomorrow, guys. Same evening. Yeah, tomorrow evening we'll catch up and we'll continue our sessions. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good time. And remember the assignments I've asked. Make sure you guys do that without forgetting. All right, guys.